If you're not getting what you need out of your staff members, it might not be a them problem. It might be a you problem. That intro was a little harsh, but I'm here to speak the truth. Sometimes when your team isn't performing, instead of looking at them and what they are or are not doing, we have to look inwards at ourselves and see where are the lines that we've drawn and the expectations that we've put out to these team members. It's really important to be consistent with boundaries throughout your leadership. And I want to share a story with you. I built my group practice, my company, in 2017, 2018. We were a largely cash practice, and we had gotten to the point where I was going to quit my full-time job. I was 9 months pregnant, and I was ready to go. I was so excited. It was March of 2020. I'll never forget it. Within 2 weeks, I lost 75% of our client base, and we're at risk of losing all of my staff members to layoffs. But I asked staff for a give and take. I asked them to drop their wage, but it really wasn't what the group needed. What I needed to do at that time was to lay off all of the staff members. But instead of doing that, I reconciled it by reducing the impact to our bottom line, but we weren't bringing in any revenue. And for the next 2 years, I worked 60 to 70 hours a week, bringing in my own clients to make sure that those therapists got paid. Those therapists that were not seeing full-time client loads. Those therapists who were not bringing in revenue. Over and over again, I chose to self-sacrifice to bring my staff up. Now, a lot of people are going to say that's noble and good and great. Give myself some kudos on the back. But because of that, I set up a system where the expectation was not that my staff did their jobs, but the expectation that Kristin, me, would always be there to catch their backs. I would always be there to sacrifice my own well-being, my own family's financial situation for the good of them. Now, while that sounds noble and servant leader-like, what it was is self-sacrificial and sabotaging to our entire team and company. It left me with a mountain of debt. It left me with workers that would not do what they're expected to do. Instead of looking at the staff and saying, you guys need to do what you've been asked to do, I looked at myself and saw failure because I took accountability. But the thing is that I was always taking accountability for things that didn't belong to me. And while accountability is an important and integral part of my method, the stable leadership method, it's really important to be able to distinguish when you look inwards between the reality of what's the responsibility of the employee, who are functional adults, versus you as the leader. What did you do wrong? I fully take accountability that I set up a system that had low expectations for my staff members, and I got exactly that, low performance. That was the return on my investment. So when you're thinking about doing something for your staff that's Saviour-esque, rethink it, look inwards and ask yourself why. When I look inwards and I look back at that time, the number one thing that was motivating me was being liked at the core. I didn't want to feel like I hurt anybody's feelings or put them out or caused them any strain on their life. But instead, I caused significant strain on my life at 9 months pregnant, taking only 2 weeks of maternity leave to make sure that they had their bills paid when I wasn't even paying my own bills. Don't let the nobility and the hurrah of servant leadership, of self-sacrifice, get in the way of what is needed from your staff members. If you find yourself swooping in to save the day at that last deadline when somebody got sick, you're doing it wrong. And you're setting up the expectation that they can live their life and do their work how they please because they know that you, in their hour of need, will swoop in and save them. And no offense, unless you're somebody's parents, and even then, you're setting yourself up for failure. And you're setting yourself up for a future and years of this expectation. You will get burned out. And if you're doing it and you get promoted, you're at the wrong company. Why? Because They're promoting your self-sacrifice. That's what they want from you. They want high performance, even if it's not your team's performance, it's yours. Sometimes this is why I stray away from having technical, skilled leaders, because you can actually swoop in and save them. Whereas a leader who has nothing to do with the actual project can't swoop in, can't save them. They are enforced to draw the boundary and the deadline. Be wary, be careful. Don't put yourself out there for people who will not put themselves out there for you. And that sounds like a cold, sad, hard thing to hear, but it's the truth and it's reality. You have to have lines and boundaries. There are people who will consistently show up for you, who will go above and beyond. And for those people you sacrifice. But for everybody, absolutely not. Remember, trust is established through consistent, hard-earned trust. Consistent behavior over time. You can trust that this person's a reliable person and that if something came up, it's real. It's not because they're going to leave the team in the lurch. And you can almost guarantee that it is not going to be a repetitive behavior. Please listen to me from the person who has made the mistake over and over again. Stop thinking that you helping them this one time is going to result in them making changes to how they'd work and perform. You showing up to save them will not result in their better performance. It will not. I've done it, not just then, but years later. I've had staff members that I've called out 5, 10 times, had on performance plans, but still given the benefit of the doubt when I should have let them go, when I should have done the things that helped the project, the company, and the people who were hardworking do better. Because by catering to the people who are low performers, by catering to the people who aren't doing their work, you send the message to the people who are, to the hard workers, to the ones carrying the team, that their work really doesn't matter and that they're really not any different than anybody else. I mean, if that's the culture you want on your team, you can go ahead and do that. But I know for me and my team, it's time for us to grow in excellence and grow performance. I want excellence on the team that works for me. And I hope that you want excellence too, because it reflects on you as a leader. And you don't have to self-sacrifice, sabotage, and burn yourself to the ground to get that excellence. All it takes is drawing the lines and following through on the consequences. That everybody who works is an adult. You're an adult, they're an adult. You don't need to be their teacher. You don't need to be their therapist. You don't need to be their savior. My name is Kristin Martinez. I am a systems expert and I work with organizations and leaders to utilize the stable leadership model in order to get better performance, less turnover, and overall a healthier work life. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.